Let's go to the fifth and last view. I will edit this view and link the fifth preset to it. Now I will make the fifth preset active in my visual settings. Output, as the name suggests, has to do with the export settings. Here you can set the resolution for your renders. This allows you to visualize how much of what you see on the screen will be exported and what kind of dimensions they reflect. You should always keep the safe frame on when setting this up. We can turn it on here. This is the final area that will be visible in your export. Standard and default resolution is Full HD. Honestly, that is more than enough in quality for any kind of presentation. But you can set it to Ultra HD as well. However, what is important to know is that you can set a custom resolution for any kind of aspect ratio. For example, I want an image for an Insta reel, so it has to be a portrait. I can set that up here, but like I said, if the safe frame is not enabled, you won't be able to preview how your final export would look, so make sure it's on. Depending on your custom settings, you can also use the viewport aspect ratio by checking this box here. As far as I understood, it maintains the width defined by you, but adjusts the height automatically to reflect the viewport aspect ratio. But since this is saved in a preset, remember that it will apply only to the scenes that are linked to this preset. So if you have different export settings, don't expect all your renders to be the same size. People often realize this later when they are setting up their presentations. That was the general resolution output setting. Then there are the image output settings. When you export a render, Enscape provides you the option to either export a single image or export 4 additional image layers with the base image just by checking this box here in advance. These additional images can be used for various purposes. Let's go through each. Object ID is an image that reflects your render in terms of visible objects. All different objects visible in the composition are differentiated by a different color. These objects could be different surfaces, element types, and systems. Depending on your CAD, they are translated and differentiated by Enscape. Now, if there is an object in your render you want to edit in post, you will have to manually create a boundary to select it. With the Object ID image, you can easily pick that object color to get your selection, and then use that selection to edit that object. That is just one use case. However, some users like to use it as a tool to refine object classification. Perhaps the objects need to be unified or classified into further distinctions, and this can be easily reviewed through such images. Material ID is quite similar as well. However, each color represents a different material. There could be so many ways you could use this image. Interestingly, I met an architectural applications engineer from Chaos at the AU23 in Las Vegas. That guy was presenting unique workflows on using Enscape. He opened my eyes to yet another use case. Using these exports as representation styles. That means these images can also be used for conceptual presentations. Essentially as a unique style of spatial understanding where materials and objects are not as important as the usage of space. Really loved that approach. Check out a few renders I created using that approach. They look flippin' awesome! Alright, what are the other two images? The third one is the depth channel. It contains information about distances of all the individual object surfaces from a specific viewpoint. Now once you click on this checkbox, you will notice that the depth range slider becomes active. Imagine a section box. The slider makes the section box bigger. The bigger the section box, the higher the visibility range. It is this range that can be controlled before exporting the image. This range is defined in distance from your viewpoint. Easily explained, it's a grayscale image of color depth in your render. Depending on how you want to use it, you can adjust the depth range. The last image is the alpha channel. If it is not clear, let me explain. For me, it represents the positive and negative spaces. All backgrounds are excluded from this image. You can use them in post for various editing purposes. These are the 4 images that can be exported additionally with each render you export if you have this checkbox marked. You can define a default format type for these images as well. You might notice there is another checkbox under the image file format. This is labeled as Apply Alpha Channel. Don't confuse it with the alpha channel image. What this does is that it exports your render with a transparent background. This way you get the image ready to be placed on a new background in post without having to edit it first. I save it as a PNG. I mean, that would be the only way to use it efficiently, I guess. So when you check this, Enscape will only export your render, but with a transparent background. Another workflow I remember from the AU was using these renders to create line diagrams. We will cover that in another video. Then we have the default folder option. You can set this location here once. From that point onwards, Enscape will automatically open your default folder location when you click the screenshot button. If you check automatic naming, Enscape will also name your exports automatically. This means that if both default folder and automatic naming are defined, Enscape won't even open the save window. It will directly export the image to your folder with an automatic name, saving you tons of time. I always have both defined. The video settings apply only to video exports. These can be set as default here, but can also be manually changed when exporting a video. The panorama settings apply to panoramas only. These cannot be changed elsewhere. Whatever resolution is defined here will be applied to your panorama exports. You will have to change the resolution from here if you want to make any changes. Did we cover everything under visual settings? Hell yeah! And my 5th preset is ready just like that. Now when I click on each view, you can see how each preset is different from each other. Not only that, guys, if you find your presets unique, export them. Damn right you can. You can save them on your machine and import them into other projects. If you found this lesson amazing, leave a comment, guys. See you in the next lesson.